Hi, it's James here from Camping Travel Store. We'd just like to show you a quick instructional video on how we would put up the Karsten Opera 2400 tunnel tent. Before we do it, we get it out of the bag. Before we actually roll it out, we just have a quick scout of the area to make sure there's no sharp objects, stones or flints or sticks that could actually damage the ground sheet. Although it's quite a thick ground sheet, as you'd expect from the quality of Karsten, if we can minimise any of this, so far the better. So once we roll it out, we can unflap it, and then just position it as to how we may want it. Okay, so once it's ready to be pegged in, Karsten being Karsten, they provide you with some very heavy duty pegs. On the corners you'll see a bit of rope and an aluminium clamp to the ground sheet, and all we do is literally bang these heavy duty pegs straight in. Now I get the best result from doing corner to corner with just a gentle flap underneath to alleviate any creases. And I'm not pulling excessively hard against the other guying point. So there's 4 pegs on the corners, and as you'll see maybe on the closer pegging point to you, there is also a flap. Now this goes under the clamp before you flap it and before you peg out. Now along the side where the sleeves come down, and you can see the colour coding here with the sleeves, there's 2 D-rings on the ground sheet. So for those, Karsten provide you with some normal sort of what I call camping pegs, lightweight duty camping pegs, and you can put those through the rings to hold them in place. So we have 4 of those each side. And I believe we have 3 at the back. Right, so as it's a tunnel tent, obviously it involves poles. Now the Karsten poles are lightweight aluminium, very easy to clip together, preformed pole sections, which makes it nice and easy to get the poles erected quickly. As you can probably hear, they clip in nicely. And with the Karsten, they go into sleeves which are zipped on the outside, so the first time you get your tent you're going to have to undo these. But once you've had your tent and you've taken it down, you can leave the zips in like what we call the 10 to 2 position. So you've only got a minimal amount of threading of poles to do. So on this occasion, as you can see, we're through. Very simple. Now if there's 2 of you putting up the tent, this is great, because once one person's laying the tent out and pegging it in, your assistant or your partner can be making up the poles ready to put in. So we'll just add those now quickly. Okay, so we've inserted all our 3 poles through the sleeves on the main tent ready to go. Now you get lots of guy ropes with the Karsten, and they attach by carabiner, which is really handy. So on this occasion, what I like to do, if I'm doing it single-handed, if there's 2 of you it's quite easy actually, But if you're single-handed, there's a top point here that you can attach a long guy rope to, which is fine. And what I try and like to do is sort of measure a good good meters distance away from the tent base and bang in a peg. This will help us put the first pole up. Again, if there's two of you, you literally walk down the tent putting the poles up. But with one, it's a little bit more of manhandling to do. So we've got spikes. You've created a triangle by pegging it in with the clamp and the rope, and then this one fits into that triangle and into the ground. We do the same on the other side, putting it into the same space, the same triangular space, and then we can bring the tent up and secure it up. Don't worry, the fact it's not zipped in at the moment. Now, I'll wander down this side here so you can see. All we're going to do is wander down the tent, lifting the poles up, and along the guying points and the ground sheet where they meet and we pegged them in earlier, we're going to put the spike in the D-ring now because it's secure on both sides. So this is this side done. I'll just nip round and do the others. As you can hear, I'm just zipping in this side. But you'll see just how easy it is to zip them in. It's literally straight down and in. Straight down and in. And again. A very quick technique here is if you're really struggling to get one of these poles in, it's called the split pole technique. If you remove the bottom pole from its outer and bend it, if you push it now in, it will just fit. It's a really easy technique, that one, and one to keep for future reference. Now, Karsten have adjusters, so if you're not happy on how the tent's sitting, you can level it up a bit with the adjusters. And make it nice and square. That seems to be okay here. Before we do anything pegging out, we are going to close the doors so we know we can close them once we put tension all over the tent. Right, so before we start going at the front, we've got some pegging to do at the back. I like to use rock pegs at the back. Karsten supply their proper fan-dabby-dozy pegs, but the rock pegs suit us down to the ground, to be honest with you. I usually start with the middle one. You've got 5 along the back here. Again, get them in. I'll do the middle one, then I start. I'll show you this corner first. I try to use for both the top guy rope and the corner one on the back of this sleeping area. So bring them out nice and tight. We can tension them off in a second and guide them in nicely. You can put quite a bit of tension on these guy ropes. The cotton canvas and again the Karsten stitching and just the quality of the tent means you can really get a good pull on it. Now also we want to be leaning the tent back a little bit if we can, because we're going to be putting an awning on the front and that's going to be pulling it forward. So we kind of want to keep the shape as best as possible. We'll just do this corner one here and then we shall move to the front. So again, the two corner ones coming together. put some tension on it. Again, you can go around and tension the whole tent afterwards anyway, but it's nice to get it pretty much there on the first attempt. There we go. Yes, good enough. Right, so as we now move to the front, we moved this guy rope to help us set up the tent in the first place from this guying point. So we've got a guying point on the other side, which we'll peg out first. That will keep the tent from falling backwards. What you've got to remember is we're now going to add an awning to the front here. So realistically, we don't want it to be going it forward. We want it to be out of the way of the curvature of the awning that we're going to be adding. So probably about 1 metre to the side if we can. Now we can take this one off. And we'll do exactly the same this side. Again, they're on carabiners. So it's just a clip off and a clip on. And again, we're looking at the curvature of where that awning is going to be, because we don't want to get involved in that. Guy it out and tension it off. There we go. Now then, the awning, like anything else, it zips on. You have a left and a right zip. And you can take them all the way down to the floor. Depending on how you're going out, you may be able to utilise the original guy on the corner of the tent, the base tent that we did first off. In some cases you can't, like now, so we'll bang another peg in. Let's get a couple more pegs. So before we put the pole in, we're going to bring the awning straight out at 90 degrees to the tent and put another peg in. We're going to stretch the elastic though on the front by about 2 inches and bring it forward, because this awning leans forward, naturally wants to lean forward. Oops. Again, 90 degrees, couple of inches. Get it under a bit of tension and that's fine. Where we left it unzipped before, at the 10 to 2 position, my assistant has kindly made up a pole for me. We're just going to put that into the sleeve, push it round and through. You can see where it wants to zip in, so that gives you an idea of the markers for doing that. Again, we've got additional guy ropes. We can undo these quickly, he says. Extend them, and then we can zip in the pole, ready to be guyed out. Now these ones you can bring a bit further forward as opposed to being out the side. Bring the whole tent forward under tension. That's why we pegged out the back first. So rather than it all leaning forward, it should be reasonably symmetrical and straight. And again, nice bit of tension on there. Don't be afraid of the tent. And then we've just got a few extra pegs around the side. We can put in, and we're pitched. Okay, so all that's left now is just to literally peg out the front. So we don't really want to peg the doors down at all, unless you really want to. So we've got some side flaps to the doors, which we can peg out. Again, all on elastics, very secure, very tough. And then we can roll up the door. Now when we roll up the door, we use a little technique again, by which we bring it out, we fold it and fold again to create a triangle, and this allows us to literally flip it over and just roll really nice and neatly all the way up to the top, clip it in. And then this is the lovely feature about the Opera, the drop down bathtub ground sheet. So when it's up, no water's coming in, and you can bring it down so children don't fall over it. Has wheelchair and pushchair access, and as you can see, the dividers are in the back, and they literally just zip in each side and just get tied back. What a fantastic tent, phenomenal tent for a couple. It's designed for 2 people and their dog. Easily get 3 across the back, lovely living area and a nice porch area. Well, this is James from Camping Travel Store, and thank you for watching.